this platform, we would like to share genuine information on different themes: classical poetry, classical Sindhi poetry, classical English poetry, and Persian poetry, and poetry of the subcontinent, and different themes and disciplines pertaining to Tharparkar and folklore. So this is very comprehensive niche about genuine information sharing. And today I would like to share a linguistic and environmental analysis of a bait from Surdahar of Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. Surdahar is about the topography and the dried channel of Sindh, and it also offers very good thought on the past riverine beds of Sindh. And that bed is Patihalato mein poor given I Abaj. Patihal was a tributary of Sindh, as Puran was tributary of Sindh. Patihalato mein poor given I Abajo. O Patihal, you no longer have the form surges of water. Suke kede sur pe wari vichame. What sorrow, what pain has made you die? That now sand lies within your bed. This is a remarkable ecological and philosophical passage from Surdahar of Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai. The poet addresses the dried up Patihal, an old river channel, a tributary of Sindh, Indus, as it were a living being capable of experiencing sorrow. Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai addressed to the Kando tree as symbol of nature, symbol of environment, and so he addressed the Patihal, the dried bed of Patihal tributary, as the remnants of an ecological crisis or decline. It is from Surdahar. The poet Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai addresses the dried Patihal as it were a living being capable of experiencing sorrow. Linguistically, if we are looking on this bed, then Patihal is the proper noun. It is the name of ancient tributary of Indus or river channel associated with the Indus river system. In Shah Latif's poetry, however, it becomes more than a geographical name. It becomes a living interlocutor. The poet directly addresses it. Patihal tome pu. O Patihal, within you, they are used to be surges of water. This direct addresses an example of apostrophe and personification. Shah Abdul Latif Bhitai personifies the Patihal. The river is treated almost like a human being. Patihal tome poor. The word poor refers to the rise, surge, swelling, or powerful movement of water. Thus, tome poor means does not merely mean there was water in you. It evokes dynamic, moving, and living water. It reflects dynamism of social, ecological, and hydrological life. The word creates a strong contrast with present condition of Patihal. Once full of movement, it is now filled with sand. Agium again means former, previous, earlier. It is one of the most significant words in the Beth because it introduced the dimension of time and memory. The poet established a contrast: former water, present dryness. Thus, the river is being remembered not it exists now, but it once was existed. The word therefore carries both temporal and emotional meaning. Ab. Ab is Persian word derived from Persian, and it means water. And in Sindhi, uh, that word is also another meaning, and that is honor, that is respect. And Sindhi epistemology, Sindhi semantics relate it to the relate water with the honor. So here, water is not merely a physical liquid substance. With the poetic context, Ab signifies life, fertility, movement, prosperity, continuity, and ecological vitality. Its absence, therefore, presents much more than physical. Suke means you dried up, come dry. The second person form is important. Shah Latif does not say the river has dried. He says that Suke, you have dried up. The grammatical structure transforms the river from an object of observation to a subject of experience. Kede Sur. This is perhaps the most emotionally powerful expression in this bed. Suke Kede Sur. What sorrow has made you dry? Ordinarily, we would ask about the physical causes of rivers drying. Shah Latif instead asks about sorrow, about pain, about grief. Here, environmental reality is transformed into emotional and psychological language. The river has not merely lost water, it has apparently suffered a loss. Peyi vari vichame. The final image is extraordinarily powerful. Now sand lies in your midst. The poet creates a sharp opposition: water and sand, life and dryness, movement and stillness, fertility and barrenness, abundance and scarcity, past and present, hope and loss. The entire ecological tragedy is compressed into visual image of sand occupying the place once occupied by the water. Philosophical analysis of this book, nature as a living being. The philosophical significance of Beth begins. Reflects Shah Latif's treatment of nature. He asks the river, "What sorrow has made you dry?" This raises a profound philosophical question. Can nature be understood as something capable of suffering? Shah Latif does not create an absolute division between human beings and natural world. The river participates in the emotional universe of the poet. This reflects a major feature of Sufi thought. Human beings and the natural world are interconnected manifestations of larger cosmic reality. Water as metaphor of existence. Water represents much more than physical survival. It sustains river, it sustains then land, then crops, then animals, then human beings, then settlements, and then culture. When water disappears, the entire chain is threatened. Therefore, the drying of Patial becomes an existential metaphor. Water becomes a metaphor for being, continuity, and vitality. The philosophy of loss. The word former, agu, is crucial. The poet sees the present landscape but remembers the landscape that existed before. Thus, something absent remains present through memory. The dried river therefore becomes a symbol of lost abundance, lost vitality, lost community, lost landscape, and lost past. This is entirely a philosophy of absence. What is no longer physically present continues to possess meaning because it survives in memory. Sorrow and spiritual separation. The word sur, sorrow or pain or agony or suffering also permits a Sufi interpretation. In Sufi poetry, dryness can metaphorically represent separation, frock, longing, sikka, deprivation, distance from the beloved, spiritual emptiness. Conversely, flowing water can suggest union, spiritual vitality, divine grace, and fulfillment. Environmental analysis of this couplet will be that the Beth is especially significant from perspective of eco-criticism and environmental humanity. These are the subjects and themes are being taught throughout the universities of world. Patihal was not simply a channel containing water. A river supports an entire ecological system. Its ecological chain can be represented as water, then soil and fertility, then vegetation and then livestock and wildlife, then human settlement, then culture and life. When the river dries, the consequences far beyond the river itself. Thus, the phrase "sand lies within you" can be interpreted as a representation of ecological degradation. Sand lies within you. Environmental memory. One of the most important modern readings of this Beth is the concept of environmental memory. The poet says sand, but remembers water. The present landscape therefore contains the memory of its former ecological condition. The dry riverbed becomes an archive of environmental history. It silently records where water once flowed, where people once lived, where agriculture once flourished, and how the landscape changed. In this sense, the riverbed becomes a historical document written by nature itself. Ecological grief. The Beth also expresses what contemporary environmental studies might call ecological grief. There are three stages. First is recognition of loss. The former water is no longer there. Second is emotional questioning. What sorrow has made you dry? And the third is visual confirmation. Sand lies in your midst. These are three layers of human perception about a dried bed of water by name Patihal. The poet does not merely describe environmental change, he grieves over it. This makes the Beth remarkably relevant to contemporary discussions on environmental loss. Human-nature relationship. A particularly important feature Shalatif does not place humanity above nature. Instead, he creates a relationship of empathy between human observer and the river. The river has a history, has a memory, has a condition, and metaphorically a sorrow. This challenges the modern tendency to treat nature merely as resource. Nature is not resource. Nature is the resource of sustenance. Patihal is not simply water available for human use. It is participation in a larger ecological cultural world. Relevance to the contemporary environmental thought. This Beth is very much important and pertinent to the contemporary environmental thought. Beth can be productively connected with the modern concepts such as river or riverine ecology, water scarcity, desertification, ecological degradation, environmental memory, ecological grief, water security, human and nature interdependence, and loss of biodiversity. However, it would be historically inaccurate to automatically attribute Patihal drying to modern climate change. The historical transformation of river channels involves complex hydrological and geographical processes. The contemporary relevance lies instead in the principle expressed by Shah Abdul Latif. Literary structure of this myth follows a remarkable progression: address, memory, question, sorrow, ecological image. Or patrial, former water, sorrow, sand. The movement is from life to loss. The first part evokes movement, pour, surge. The middle introduces memory, agium ab, and the emotional center introduces suffering, sur, and the final image establishes devastation, and that is Wari. Thus, the entire ecological history of a river is composed into a few words. Overall interpretation of this myth will be that Patihal, you no longer have the former surge of water. What sorrow has made you dry, that now sand lies within you, is simultaneously a linguistic masterpiece of Shah Abdul Latif Bhai of personification and contrast, a philosophical meditation on loss and existence. It is a Sufi reflection on separation and longing. It is an environmental poem about the disappearance of a river and transformation of its ecosystems. The most profound feature of this myth is that Shah Abdul Latif marks the dried river speak through its silence. The sand is not merely sand, it is visible evidence of an absent river, the absence of memory. Central idea of this will be that the dried Patihal is not merely a dried river, it is the living memory of a lost ecological world. Its water, fertility, settlements, livelihoods, and cultural life. That is what makes this apparently simple myth a powerful text for linguistics, Sufi environmental humanities, and the study of ecological memory. It is the great thought and thesis of Shah Abdul Latif that was presented uh, only with a symbolical reflection of drying up of a riverine bed by name Patel, and by telling that story of River Indus, Shah Abdul Latif has touched many more dimensions of the society, culture, economy, hydrology, and environment. Thank you very much.